On this month's In the Life, talking gay issues with kids.
What's really beautiful about this book is that it's really just about animals who want to become a family.
Social rebellion in Poland. A different kind of camp.
This campground is my family, my community.
And Kathleen Turner and Edward Albee. Stay tuned for these compelling stories about the gay experience.
In the Life is funded in part by the H. Van Ameringen Foundation, and by Arcus Foundation, and by Collingwood Foundation, and these funders, and by the annual support of In the Life members like you.
Welcome to In the Life. I'm Michael Billy. In this episode, we have quite a diverse collection of stories, including a very special interview. Director, author, and star of stage and screen, Kathleen Turner sits down with a true titan of the theater world, dramatist Edward Albee. We'll get a rare look at what it's like to come out in Poland during the ultra-conservative Kaczynski brothers' reign. From Warsaw, we'll take you to rural Pennsylvania to experience the world of gay camping. But first, we visit a Massachusetts classroom and explore the controversial children's book, And Tango Makes Three.
This is a book about families that we're going to read today, okay? You know that one? All right. All right. Let's all settle down so we can begin. This book is called And Tango Makes Three. It's by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell, and it's illustrated by Henry Cole.
And Tango Makes Three is the true story of two male penguins in the Central Park Zoo who pair bonded and were together for a number of years and built a nest together.
In 2003, New York Central Park Zoo announced that two of its male chinstrap penguins, Roy and Silo, were a couple.
We were reading the newspaper and having breakfast one morning, and we saw this article that Denisha Smith had written called The Love That Dare Not Squeak Its Name. And I said, Peter, you have to hear this story. Let me read you this story. And I started to read it to him across the breakfast table. And there was something about what it sounded like to be reading this story aloud that made it feel like it was a children's story.
And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year, at the same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins. And the boy penguins start noticing the girl penguins. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. Kids, around this age, 7, 8 years old, the idea of a romance is, they tend to be a little squeamish about it. They sort of just don't want to go there. A little bit different. When it moved on and Roy and Silo had hooked up as a couple and they were making their little nest, they were fine with all of that. Roy and Silo were both boys, but they did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. The zookeeper, Mr. Gramsey, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love.
One of the things that we say in the book is And the zookeeper, Mr. Gramsay, thought to himself, they must be in love. And Rob Gramsay loves the book and was delighted by it. But after it came out, he called and he said, I just have one concern. I don't think I really would have said they must be in love. I would have said they must have pair bonded. And I thought, yeah, that's right, because he saw their behavior for what it was. And we had considered saying it was pair bonding in the book, but for a 4-year-old, we felt we needed to be as clear as possible.
Roy and Sila watched how the other penguins made a home. So they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples. What's really beautiful about this book is that it's really just about animals who want to become a family.
Some might be bright, some might have white skin, and some might have black skin.
Okay, so that would kind of go along with what Shamali was saying about how you might have families with all different kinds of nationalities, different cultures, different languages. Some might be divorced, some might be raised by a grandma, some might have 2 moms, all different kinds of families.
Some might even have 2 dads.
Some might have 2 dads.
And some might have 2 moms, and some might have grandma and foster parents.
Mm-hmm. They're very eager to relate their own family situations to it. So when you have discussion about family diversity, what you do need to be prepared for discussion about is things like divorce, because that affects just about every classroom in America. If their families are in the midst of a divorce, one of the big anxieties that they have is, who will take care of me? Will my parents still love me? And for kids, that's what's most important about parents, is not what parents look like, not what the parents' names are, but that there will be parents there, and that security of knowing this parent will always love me and this parent will always take care of me. So I think that kids can relate to the Roy and Silo characters and see that they're very good parents. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. Jess?
Does Roy know that Silo was a boy?
I think so. I think they just like each other and they want to be a couple. Do you think that that might help them figure out why they're not having eggs and chicks? Why do you think they're not having eggs and chicks?
Because I think boys don't have chicks and only girls have chicks.
One of the biggest challenges that teachers face in relation to talking about gay and lesbian issues in elementary school is self-censorship. And certainly there are districts and there are states that are less supportive about teachers bringing up these issues or being straightforward about these issues in their classrooms. But the biggest issue, I think, is self-censorship, where teachers feel like, I don't want to open that can of worms, I don't want to go there. And the reason that teachers often censor themselves is that what they're afraid of is that kids will start to ask questions about sexuality. But a lot of times when a little child asks you, Mommy, where did I come from? They don't want the nitty-gritty details. They really don't. A lot of times they want to know what city they were born in. So if you have a book like Cinderella, which is, this heterosexual classic story, at the end it says, they got married and lived happily ever after. And parents and teachers don't worry about first and second graders saying, well, when they got married, then what did they do in the bedroom on their honeymoon? Kids don't ask that question.
That's one of the things that we think is most helpful about this book, is that if a parent were to sit down and read it, they would see it's not about sexuality, it's not about sex, it's actually about 2 birds that bonded to one another and had a very strong instinct to have a child. There's nothing in that lesson that's inappropriate for kids of any age.
One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. It was only a rock. For many kids, I think the fact that they're both boy penguins is kind of interesting and incidental. But the cool thing is that there were these two penguins, and they really, really wanted to hatch a chick like all the other families were. And wow, they were able to do it. And they were a family, and they were a good family.
Crack! Out came their very own baby. She had
Tango topped the list of the American Library Association's most challenged books of 2006.
We'll call her Tango, Mr. Gramsay said, because it takes two to make a tango.
Recently, the authors read from their book in Chicago as part of Banned Books Week.
This is a year in which our book has been pulled from library shelves or hidden from children's view, in which a teacher's job was threatened and a school superintendent grilled by parents for sharing our book with students.
By standing out in a public square in Chicago and reading our book to anybody who walks by, we're trying to support those schools and those libraries that are under strong criticism in their communities.
You know, I don't believe in banning books or burning books. I believe in thinking critically with kids about the content of books. Parents or teachers have a concern or they notice something about a book, it's an opening for a conversation. You know, a parent might say, oh, that surprised me. I didn't know boy penguins would exhibit that kind of mating behavior towards each other. I didn't know that that happened in nature. Tell us who's in your family, Stephen.
This is my dad. This is my mom.
One of the things that the Challenges has also sort of brought into public discussion is the fact that there are families like this in the country.
This is my mom and my dog in one house, and this is me and my sister. We're between the two houses because I live in two separate houses.
In many schools across their country, there are two mom or two dad families, or one lesbian mom families, or one gay dad families, or any combination of those.
If we understand that there's a significant percentage of the population that is gay or lesbian, they're out there, they're in people's families, and they shouldn't have to hide, and kids shouldn't have to hide that reality. They should just feel comfortable with it. So as teachers, we can really create caring communities in our classrooms where kids feel that who they are is okay, and the people who love them are fine people. Draw the handsome guy right there.
You got a big birthday coming up.
Hoi, as we say
Hoi,
in New York.
In New York. Which means?
Which means I'm finally going to be 70, yes, very good.
You're lying.
I know.
Your humor, your sense of humor, and you're sardonic, and you're almost absurdist at times. Does that improve with age?
Damn well better.
Well, yeah.
If you lose your sense of humor, then you're not going to find the necessary things funny about getting to be 80. That's funny, you know.
So you've had some serious reactions and to a lot of your work.
Oh, yeah.
Some good and some not.
Some good and some pretty rotten, too.
Yeah. I was thinking specifically about the Pulitzer Prize for Virginia Woolf.
Which they took away.
Which they took away.
Yeah, yeah. But that was okay. You know, I got more mileage out of having that prize taken away than I would have had if I just left it with me, yeah.
What, you're not advocating bad publicity is better than none?
Of course.
What other pieces have suffered in that way?
Well, after I wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which got, you know, eventually a lot of good. Some of the first reviews from those daily newspapers that don't exist anymore, like the Mirror and those things, they were pretty bad, you know, plays that should be seen only by dirty-minded women, or somebody else called it a garbage dump.
Now, there have been questions throughout the history of Virginia Woolf and others that that it was originally based on homosexual partners.
That meant to be a play about two gay couples.
Yes, and I can remember what you said to me about it, but...
Well, that was so silly, you know. I'm quite capable of writing a play about gay people if I want to. I've done it. But those two were two straight couples. It was not. Everybody knew I was gay, and so obviously Albee's gay. Therefore, he must be disguising.
Yes. Right.
what he's doing.
Right, some kind of subversive message.
But that was, there were a couple of critics.
So how has it changed
There were a couple of
now?
critics who were very famous for their homophobia.
Yeah.
And they were really slamming at a lot of us. But then the reviews got okay, and we had a decent run with that play. But, so you write Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. You know what you're expected to write next? Son of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Of course.
Or, you know, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf
2.
And then I had 3 absolute disasters, commercial disasters. I did an adaptation of James Purdy's wonderful novel, Malcolm, which was greatly admired by 2 people, James Purdy and me, and that was just about it. I wrote a play about theater journalism and critics called The Man Who Had 3 Arms.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that very much either.
What a surprise.
What a surprise. And another one that got blasted. And all of a sudden, I couldn't get a production in New York.
Yeah.
Very interesting. About, 15 years after Virginia Woolf, I couldn't get a production in New York. I was having productions in Europe all the time.
Sure.
And around the country, but I was totally persona non grata in New York because I didn't write Son of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, basically. But then things started to turn around again, and now for a little while they're being nice to me. Don't know why.
They're being lovely to you, Edward.
Yeah, I know.
Must be your age.
It probably is, yeah. Be nice to the old guy, right?
Yeah, right.
Between 2005 and 2007, Poland's ultra-conservative leaders, the Kaczynski brothers, made life difficult for people who chose to come out publicly. Homophobia was further fueled when Warsaw's Gay Rights March was first banned in 2005. Despite the ban, thousands defied the prohibition. This next story explores the difficulties of standing up for gay rights and being visible in Poland.
Warsaw, the capital of Poland. A country of nearly 40 million. At least a few 100,000 gays and lesbians are estimated to live in Poland. A vast majority of them are still in the closet.
Ale czy to jest facet, którego wyrzucili z Wielkiej Brytanii, on jest Polakiem?
Within the past several months, a number of Polish celebrities, among them artists and journalists, have publicly come out as homosexuals. One of them is Jakub, a 30-year-old radio journalist.
Okej.
Kiedy kimś nie wolno być, jak się jest dzieckiem, to się tym kimś po prostu nie jest. Ja przez bardzo długi czas żyłem w takim przeświadczeniu, jakbym, to zabrzmi może dziwnie, ale tak było, jakbym nie miał płci. Czy, Klaudiusz, nie wiesz, czy Dred teraz wyszedł gdzieś na dłużej? Ja mieszkałem w Tarnobrzegu. Takie miejsce, gdzie jest wszędzie daleko. Potworna prowincja. To może mieć forum z ubiegłego tygodnia. O Belgii taki artykuł był. Kończę liceum, tak? Opuszczam tenże smętny Tarnobrzeg, wreszcie. Z takim poczuciem, że się wyrywam na wolność. I przyjeżdżam do Warszawy na studia w szkole teatralnej i ląduję w akademiku. I właściwie z marszu zakochuję się w moim współlokatorze. Natychmiast. Byłem potwornie nieszczęśliwy przez pierwszy rok studiów. Miałem wielką depresję. Pół roku później nastąpiła moja pierwsza randka homoseksualna. Fatalna. Poczucie tego, że się coś w sobie przełamuje, jest tak duże. Trudność z akceptacją tej sytuacji jest tak wielka, że ja nie znam ładnej historii, naprawdę, nie znam ładnej historii o pierwszym razie homoseksualnym.
Ania and Iga have been a couple for over 10 years. Since Ania got fired from a teaching position after publicly announcing her homosexuality, she and Iga have been two of the most involved gay and lesbian rights activists in Poland.
To jest trudno wytłumaczyć komuś z zagranicy, dlaczego gejom i lesbijkom w Polsce się źle żyje. Albo źle, bo to jest pojęcie względne. Gorzej na pewno niż w Europie Zachodniej, gorzej na pewno niż w Stanach. Natomiast lepiej, prawdopodobnie lepiej niż w Rosji czy w innych krajach, na przykład arabskich. nasz system edukacji w Polsce, jaki mamy, który obejmuje na przykład ludzką seksualność czy ludzkie zachowania wobec drugiego człowieka, ciągle piętnuje tą homoseksualność. Jedyny podręcznik.
Tak.
To jest większość takich podręczników w Polsce.
Lambda Szczecin zajmowała się analizą. Podręcznik dopuszczony do użytku szkolnego przez ministra właściwego do spraw oświaty i wychowania.
Te podręczniki do wychowania, do życia w rodzinie, do przysposobienia do życia w rodzinie praktycznie nie zmieniły się od 5-10 lat.
Po tej całej gamie kolorowych zdjęć przekazujących informacje o tym, jak można być szczęśliwym w miłości, uśmiechniętym, jak można fajnie sobie, proszę bardzo, tutaj wręczać obrączki. Jest najczarniejsze, najsmutniejsze zdjęcie, akurat przy haśle homoseksualizm. Jest to smutne dla kogoś, kto jest osobą homoseksualną, bo on się dowiaduje, że jego homoseksualizm można poddać ocenie moralnej, natomiast heteroseksualizmu nigdy nie poddaje się ocenie moralnej. Jeżeli to konieczne, należy młodemu człowiekowi mającemu trudności homoseksualne podpowiedzieć pomoc medyczną, psychologiczną i duchową ze strony osób kompetentnych, lekarza, terapeuty czy duszpasterza. Jest tu krok po kroku pokazane, że można się wyleczyć z homoseksualizmu.
To nasze społeczeństwo niesie ze sobą z pokolenia na pokolenie przechodzący taką, można powiedzieć, nienawiść czy ksenofobię związaną właśnie z byciem innym. Czy to jest bycie Żydem, czy to jest bycie gejem, lesbijką, czy nie wiem, Arabem.
I tak sobie siedzimy w rewolucji.
In 2005, twin brothers Lech and Jarosław Kaczyński came to power as president and prime minister of Poland. A few months earlier, as mayor of Warsaw, Lech Kaczyński banned the Equality Parade, stating, "I don't prohibit people demonstrating as citizens. I prohibit people demonstrating as homosexuals." Despite the ban, gays and lesbians marched with police protection from right-wing counter-demonstrators.
Mają, wiesz, transparenty precz z bezczelną agitacją homoseksualistów. Pierwsza demonstracja, na której w ogóle byłem, to była demonstracja w roku 2003. I to była taka ostatnia demonstracja przed zakazami. Potem już był Lech Kaczyński prezydentem Warszawy i on już zakazywał. To była prześmieszna historia, bo to była jeden z pierwszych moich dni w Radiu Tok FM, kiedy byłem reporterem. Mnie po prostu na tę demonstrację posłano, żebym ja zrobił materiał. Nikt nie wiedział o tym jeszcze wtedy, że tam idzie pedał. Było takie życie prywatne, w którym ja jestem gejem i było to życie nieprywatne, gdzie ja tym gejem absolutnie nie jestem. Później pojawił się już zakaz kolejnej Parady Równości i zamiast Parady Równości był wiec równości, na który już poszedłem nie jako pan z radia, tylko jako ja. Demonstracja, która się odbywa pomimo zakazu Lecha Kaczyńskiego i mało tego jest ochraniana przez policję. Mam wokół siebie przyjaciół, ale tak naprawdę jestem mocno przestraszony. To znaczy boję się tego, co się dzieje wokół. Boję się tej agresji Wszechpolaków, boję się tych jajek, które się sypią na ludzi, tych kamieni, które spadają w tłum. Między 2005 rokiem a 2006 rokiem temat homoseksualizmu stał się jednym z głównych tematów debaty publicznej w Polsce. I nie można było nie mówić o tym, będąc dziennikarzem takim jak ja.
Tutaj masz heady.
Dzięki.
Dwa dźwięki. Prezydent i Leonila.
Aha, dobra.
Głos Rydzyka, blog.pl, pamiętaj.
Dobra. Blog FM Jakub Janiszewski przy mikrofonie, 15:08 na zegarach.
No, okazuje się, że może obrażać. Mamy dzisiaj środę popielcową, początek postu.
Panie dyrektorze, jestem bardzo poruszony tą naszą rozmową, ponieważ nigdy tego nie mówiłem na antenie, ale ja sam jestem gejem i się zastanawiam, czy pańskim zdaniem należałoby mnie zdjąć z anteny dzisiaj, w związku z tym, że jest środa popielcowa?
Wie pan,
Kiedy powiedziałem na antenie, że jestem gejem, właściwie od tego momentu zaczęło się moje, uważam, prawdziwe życie. Na tej drugiej paradzie w 2006 roku no to już nie idzie anonimowy, wystraszony chłopak, tylko idzie ten koleś z radia, który powiedział na antenie, że jest gejem w rozmowie, która tak naprawdę pokazywała homofobię. Jak tylko zaczęło się te szarady wokół parady, tak, czyli te kolejne pytania o Paradę Równości, to ja się stałem tą osobą, którą próbowano do tej dyskusji wciągnąć i wciągano. I wtedy się, myślę, gdzieś tam stałem taką bardziej publiczną postacią niż do tej pory.
Mój kolejny gość. Zapraszam Jakuba Janiszewskiego.
Naprawdę, ten mój coming out, jak to zostało zrobione na antenie, to jednak było coś. To mogę z siebie być dumny, no.
Dobry wieczór, witamy w audycji Lepiej późno niż wcale. Iga Kostrzewa, działaczka LGBT, rzeczniczka Stowarzyszenia Lambda. Witam Cię, Igo.
To jest bardzo ważna, złożona, skomplikowana, długotrwała też decyzja, kiedy ten coming out ma nastąpić. Trzeba być pogodzonym oczywiście ze sobą, ze swoją orientacją seksualną. Ponieważ ludzie wciąż się boją tego przejścia, bo to jest jakaś tam, powiedzmy, transformacja. Natomiast prawda jest taka, że każda osoba homo czy biseksualna przez to przechodzi prędzej czy później, mając lat 20, 40 czy 60. Po coming out jest dużo lepiej. Zrzucenie kamienia serca. Czujemy się naprawdę fantastycznie, jesteśmy szczęśliwi, zadowoleni, że mówimy prawdę o sobie.
Miałam 22 lata, kiedy moi rodzice dowiedzieli się o tym, że jestem lesbijką. Przyszło im trudno zmierzyć się z tą informacją. Potrzebowaliśmy około 2-3 lat na to, żeby ten temat przegadać ze sobą i żeby on stał się akceptowanym tematem. Oczywiście nie jest łatwo, ale to jest cena, którą warto zapłacić za ten spokój, który w sobie posiadam. Mój coming out bardziej kosztował moich rodziców niż mnie osobiście.
W małym mieście, będąc gejem, nie można żyć otwarcie, tak twierdzę. Nie można żyć otwarcie, nie płacąc za to straszliwej ceny. A ta cena to jest moim zdaniem po prostu nieprawdopodobna pogarda. I myślę, że wykluczenie, którego ja nawet nie zasmakowałem. Gdybym teraz był w Tarnobrzegu, to już bym nie żył. Nie mam co do tego wątpliwości. Nie mam co do tego najmniejszych wątpliwości, że pozostając w Tarnobrzegu popełniłbym samobójstwo, na pewno. Nigdy w życiu bym nie był w stanie tak funkcjonować, jak funkcjonuję. To by się po prostu nie stało. Przypominanie dla mnie tego miejsca to jest tak, jakbyś sobie przypominał miejsce, w którym... Tak jakbyś sobie przypominał miejsce, w którym wykonano na tobie nieprawdopodobną przemoc. Nigdy. Nigdy. Nigdy nie wrócę do Tarnobrzega. Nigdy. Nigdy nie wrócę do tego miasta.
To jest taki typowy talk show, najpopularniejszy talk show w Polsce.
A oprócz wszystkiego, albo przede wszystkim...
Chodź, śliczna.
W wielu wypowiedziach na pytanie dziennikarzy, dlaczego noszę kask, udzielam jednej odpowiedzi. Proszę Państwa, nie zdejmę tego kasku, dopóki w Polsce będą łamane prawa mniejszości.
Tak? No hej, oglądasz?
Zwolnić. A co na to wszystko rodzice dzieci?
Dobrze, poczekaj. I co chcesz w związku z tym zrobić? Ale uważam, że to nie jest rozmowa na telefon. Jak chcesz, to możemy o tym porozmawiać. No ja ci proponuję przyjąć wersję, że się wstydzisz tego, że masz koleżankę lesbijkę. Naprawdę się tym nie przejmuj. No hej. Właśnie dzwoniła do mnie kosmetyczka i powiedziała, że w salonie rozpoznali mnie w tym programie, bo tam leci TVN na żywo. No nie wie, co z tym zrobić, ma z tym problem. W Polsce niełatwo jest być osobą homoseksualną. Nigdy nie wiesz, jak się może to na twoim życiu odbić.
Że nie jest
jest to prawidłowo ukierunkowany popęd seksualny. No niestety.
Ale kim pan jest, że w ogóle pan taki
Takich mamy ekspertów, proszę Państwa. Dlaczego ja tutaj jestem, tutaj z tym mikrofonem i z tym wszystkim? W Polsce mamy takich ekspertów.
Być gejem w Polsce to znaczy żyć normalnie do momentu, kiedy ma się poczucie, że ta nienawiść, która się leje z telewizora, nie dopadnie cię fizycznie, nie złapie cię za gardło. Ciągle sobie zadaję pytanie, co jeszcze potrafią zrobić politycy i jak dalece uruchomić w ludziach, nie wiem, nienawiść, chęć wykluczenia, pogardę, że ta bariera zostanie gdzieś przekroczona i ta przemoc werbalna przełoży się na przemoc fizyczną. Nie mam przypadku i mam nadzieję, że nigdy go nie będę mieć. No bardzo bym nie chciał, żeby mnie ktoś pobił z tego tytułu, że jestem gejem.
Najsmutniejsza rzecz, jaką przeżyłam w życiu, to była moja obecność w Poznaniu, kiedy natychmiast jak tylko wyszliśmy z Marszem Równości na ulicę Poznania, zostaliśmy z obu stron zamknięci kordonem policji.
Tych osób było tam 200 czy 300 podczas demonstracji, natomiast aresztowanych zostało 80 osób, czyli bezpośrednio te, które weszły w starcie z policją.
Nigdy wcześniej tak bardzo się nie bałam. To była straszna sytuacja, właśnie tak jak żeśmy widzieli, jak ten człowiek był wyciągany, tak byli wyciągani wszyscy uczestnicy tego marszu.
ZOMO, Gestapo. Faszyści.
I interwencja policji nastąpiła wówczas, kiedy my już podjęliśmy decyzję, kiedy organizatorki manifestacji powiedziały, że rozchodzimy się do domu. Wówczas nastąpiła interwencja policji, więc ja uważam, że to było absolutnie polityczne zachowanie.
Wszystko miałem w swoim życiu do momentu, kiedy zacząłem się konfrontować ze swoim homoseksualizmem zafałszowanym. I dopiero potem, kiedy zacząłem mówić o tym, że jestem gejem i o tym powiedziałem, się jakby z tym połączyłem i zintegrowałem, dopiero wtedy stałem się człowiekiem. Coś jest określone. Jakiś zaczątek mojej tożsamości jest zbudowany.
Jeśli my czegoś nie wywalczymy sobie, to nikt nam tego nie wywalczy za nas. Tak było na całym świecie. Tak było w Stanach, tak było w Europie Zachodniej.
Where do you get your inspiration, sir?
I usually say Schenectady.
We're going to let that one go.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm a writer, therefore I write. I'm a playwright, therefore I write plays.
Mm-hmm.
If you write plays, you're supposed to have ideas for plays.
Mm-hmm.
I discover every 6 months or so that I'm thinking about a play that I plan to write. I don't know much about it, and I leave it alone.
We've always said your characters find their own words in some ways.
Of course. I have to know the characters so well that I can convince myself that they are talking. I will go to a string quartet and listen to some Beethoven or something, and I will start hearing lines from this play that I want to write.
that's something that always fascinated me. That right at the beginning of rehearsals for Virginia Woolf, you had said that you had wanted to be a composer. And so you heard scenes and as movements, you know, as andante or lento or, you know, all this sort of stuff. And that, in fact, you could close your eyes and listen to how the play went and know if it was on track, if it was right.
Exactly.
If the passage was in tune or on beat.
A play is three things. It's a piece of literature. It is also a scene, a visual experience.
Yes.
And it's also a heard experience.
Oh, indeed.
And so a playwright notates exactly, uses punctuation exactly the way a composer notates.
What about all the changes you've seen in the New York theatrical scene over the years? God, don't you think there have been... It's a completely different atmosphere.
Of course, a totally different atmosphere. That awful thing called commerce is so completely taken over. The problem about live theater is it costs so damn much to put on. So what's happening is we're not getting the complexity of the audience that we really need.
No, not at all.
We're getting rich people. And most people aren't writing specifically or only for that audience.
No, they're writing to be produced.
Yeah, but here's the problem. More and more young playwrights are being said, we're going to have a tryout, or we're going to try out your play. We're going to have a reading of your play. And then we'll tell you what we want you to do with it. You know, if it's a tough play, we'll ask you to soften it a little bit.
Oh, I know that.
You know, take down all the rough edges so it can't hurt anybody.
Yeah, could you be just as awful and as wicked and nice?
And we love it at its complete length, but don't you think it should be a half hour shorter and stuff like that?
Yes, people need to get home.
And the problem is, it's tougher and tougher for young writers to get their work done, and more of them are being asked to compromise, even before the fact.
More commercial.
Yeah, of course. Safer, easier. An audience that goes to the theater for escapism is a different audience than one that goes to engage in thinking about stuff.
So why don't you write more escapism?
Because I don't know how to do it.
I know! Isn't that great?
You know, the only reason half of us don't sell out is because we don't know how.
Agreed.
So what are you doing next?
Well, I have a memoir coming out called
Yeah, but
Send
you've already
Yourself
done, you've already
Roses.
done that, the book about...
Yes, that's finished and it's coming out next week. I have the Crimes of the Heart opening this week. In the summer, I'll be teaching again for NYU. In the fall, I hope to be back on stage on Broadway. I've been calling up producers and saying, I'm free.
Hey, and what's going to happen? Do you know yet? Or you don't want to tell?
Well, I wouldn't mind a comedy. Do you know? I mean...
You just did one. It was called Virginia Woolf.
I did. But everybody's been after me for Sweet Bird of Youth. Now, frankly, I don't need two such women back to back.
No.
I'd really like a break in between those two.
I think so.
So I think that's what I'm looking for now. There are a couple of new pieces which I'm finding very interesting, but they need work. So whether we can get the work done in time or not.
Well, the right stuff will come along. It always does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit, but
30 years.
You get it.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks you, honey.
In rural areas all over the United States, there are campgrounds, specifically for gay men and lesbians. It's a trend that's blossomed over the past few years, with nearly 100 camps around the country. This next story looks at the tight-knit community that is formed at one camp in Pennsylvania.
I made the mistake of saying I was going camping every week, and Anthony reminded me this is not camping, this is camp.
You got a saw? Bolt saw or something like that? Okay.
Honey, just because it's a gay campground doesn't mean we don't have tools.
Well, I know, baby.
Oh, we're here.
Really nice.
This campground is my family, my community. The people who care for you are here.
I tell people I'm going over the rainbow.
It's not a bears camp, it's not a leather camp, it's not
a drag camp, but it's got all those communities in it. I think our youngest seasonal is about 25, 26, and our oldest seasonal is in his 70s.
We have people come to Oneida from everywhere. From Washington, D.C., from Rochester, from Syracuse, Philadelphia, New York, and then all the little small towns in between.
I mean, there are people here who don't know you're from Adam, and they're willing, can we give you a hand? Do you need anything?
I look forward to it every weekend. Okay, it's Wednesday, I only have 2 more days.
And a lot of the lesbians don't have, quote unquote, a lesbian campground to go to, whereas Oneida welcomes them. We're all family. And that's what our family values are. We all watch out for one another up here.
David, yours is up next. Stop your fetches. Put your wine in. I'll give you something to whine about. I think what most people are looking for is the basic need of acceptance. Basic acceptance for who they are, what they do, how they live their life. You know, I was 19 when I came out. I got caught up in the whole bar scene and the whole bar life. You know, everything was a party, no responsibility.
Where's it right there?
That's the order it's in, so it's after this. I met Thomas in 1993, and we're still together 14 years later. He gave me the little boot in the butt that I needed to put me back on the right path. It's going to be a little bit, just because everybody came at once, so we're cooking as fast as we can cook. I started working here in 2000, and I actually took a very, very huge salary cut because I wanted to make sure this place was always here, because this was our home.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
I think both of us, in a sense, found that little missing link, you know, that little piece to make us complete, and it was family. Grab the plates from table 3. Got it. Lawrence, Chris, go to 4.
Blackguard last. Guys, look this way. Unless you say. Where's the car?
How would you like to do me a little favor? How would you like to lay a few people? What other girls are in the house? Real girls, honey.
I haven't seen any of the campground this weekend yet. We probably have about 15 golf carts on the campground right now. And we got areas now where just strictly golf cart parking. And here's our flamingo site, Stevie G's. There's our psychedelic site. It's glow-in-the-dark paint, so at night it does glow when they put the black lights on. This is Anthony's site here, Anthony and Kevin. How's the deck going? Hey guys. This is the builder's weekend, huh?
I have to move the whole deck out away from the trailer so I can put the supports up to put a roof over it.
Yeah, and of course, we had to go to our favorite toy store, Home Depot, the other day, because I said to him, you need a tool. I'm sure you need a power tool, because he uses the power tools, but I like buying power tools. Oh, I like to shop.
So it's like,
all right,
no,
if there was a stereotype about gay people, that I do like to shop. I pick it up, and I was like, okay, what's the difference between this one versus the other one? The other one was, for lack of a better term, I thought it looked nicer. I was going to say pretty. So I guess the trick is we have to move this out a bit, huh?
Well, pulling it forward means taking all the supports and everything else out. But it's nice because when it comes time to do the roof, there's a bunch of people. I'm going to have a roof raising party.
It's nice to have that
But
sense of
even
community.
people at camp, I go down and help other people that need help, and many hands make light work. And these people that's what I love about this. They will be here.
In a heartbeat.
When I say it's time, well, I mean, it might not hurt that I have food and some cocktails mixed up, but they'll be here.
Like I always say, you take a gay man into the woods, he redecorates. And we redecorate here. We have a lot of fun here.
The style of decorating is very varied. I miss that gene. I don't decorate.
Under Orion's starry sky, I lie in the moonlit garden.
You can just let it all go. Be as gay as you want, be as silly as you want.
Oh, why does it have to end?
It's almost a necessity to flare it up and kind of be able to express yourself that little bit more that you can't get away with in your own home community.
Of Samson and Beasley.
You can see what the person is going to be like just from looking at their site.
This was one of his pride and joys. He's put a lot of time and effort into just making this little garden. It's made up of things that we've collected over time.
But it also reflects a lot of what's been going on at camp. Because, like this, the hat with the glasses and the skull, we had a cocktail party where it was a Blues Brothers cocktail party. So the hat and the glasses wound up there. Like last weekend, it was pouring down rain, so I couldn't do anything outside. So I wound up underneath the deck, and I had chiseled our name in the plaque that's in the middle there. I'm out there tapping away. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, come and look." And
I don't want to sound a little too mushy, but I'm going to. I met this man and fell in love with him 9 years ago. I just never knew it was supposed to be this good.
New Jersey started the domestic partner.
Right.
We were
the ninth couple in Asbury Park. We went
couple
down to
in
Asbury Park
Park.
that day. The law went into effect on a Saturday. He's like, "Well, why don't we wait and we'll do it on our anniversary?" He didn't want to remember one other date. It's really what it was. And it's no longer groom and bride. It's now partner A and partner B. So occasionally we refer to each other affectionately as partner A and partner B. We did it right in our living room that night.
Our biggest celebration is the day we met.
That's right.
This is a picture of my partner and I cutting down trees, acting like real lumberjacks. Yeah, lumberjacks. I met him when I was 20 years old. I looked at him from the moment I saw him and I said, he's the one. I didn't have a doubt in my mind. When we got together, we both loved camping, and we were actually kind of tired of the straight campgrounds where you could just sit there and pretend you're brothers or friends or, you know, going there fishing or whatever. So we pull in through the gate, and every single campsite that we drove by, waving, "Hi, how you doing? You know, welcome to Oneida," this, that, and the other, and just, we didn't want the weekend to end. He was losing weight, feeling awful. He went from being the most healthy, strong guy to a man who was in so much pain he was in the fetal position crying on the floor. No warning, no nothing. He was diagnosed with cancer. I came up here, there were people bringing up recliners for my partner to just sit in and be comfortable instead of being so skinny sitting in these plastic chairs, you know, trying to have any cushion. People bring brownies or cakes or food, or the outpouring of love. And the feeling like I wasn't doing this alone. That's what this campground is. I mean, that's the reason why I'm here. He died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was a wonderful man. Greatly missed by a lot of people here, especially me, obviously.
This is good. This is good. I'll take that one.
What do you gotta do?
No, just walk under. Are we okay here?
Yeah, well, you figure in stilettos, wigs are gonna hit right about here.
Yeah, you're gonna
Like,
need to
right.
lop them right there.
Well, some of us aren't garden gnomes, some of us are tall.
This weekend would be Masquerade Weekend. This is really the last big hoorah for the season.
You know what's gonna drive you crazy? This thing right here, that metal box, that's gonna drive you nuts. In every picture, all I saw was that goddamn plug box. Later on, I'll be dressed up. I do Alexis Saccone. I was a Miss Camp Oneida the previous year. And what the funniest thing about that is, I work here as a guy. That's what people can't get over. I, lift 100, 120-pound logs, and I'm walking around in 6-inch stiletto shoes. I've won 5 titles, and this was by far the best one I've ever won. Before I came here, I was always really, really nervous as far as performing. Up here, they gave me the self-confidence to do what I want to do.
Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. You guys hungry? Let's do some construction.
Across the way there, they're like, aren't you supposed to be up on that roof? Because Anthony was just doing a layout. And I said, no, I have dishes to do.
Next spring, it'll come off this way, over the deck. I'll put posts out here, come out this way, and enclose the deck.
This is the last weekend here for the season.
Where are the batteries?
There should be another one right over on the...
And then it's out of here tomorrow, 6 o'clock tomorrow. They wipe the codes, lock down the gate, and camp is closed till April. Officially closed. Makes it a hard weekend. It's hard to believe it. 6 months has already passed.
It's gonna be tough not, waking up Thursday saying, what do I have to put in the car for Friday because we're going to camp? So, I guess everything in balance. And it's wintertime. It's time to hibernate and get the stuff done at home.
We're all friends. What's the old cliche? Lovers come and go, but friends are forever. And these people up here are forever. Because that's the sad part, is you don't know from season to season. God forbid somebody doesn't come back, so that's why we all try to stay close.
Me, it's dark, I cannot see. Why does this rain pour down? I'm gonna drown in a sea of deep confusion.
In the beginning, you look and say, oh, it's 6 months, and the next thing you know, it's that 6 months is gone. And then, of course, it starts, and then you blink and it's done, and 6 months have gone by, and those 6 months in the winter seem to just go forever.
And you'll find you gotta hold on through the night.
Even though I do like projects going and everything else, this has been a lot of work this year. And I foresee next year being a lot of work too, before I can finally get down to the little things that I want to do. You know, the little projects and just relaxing and the little decorative stuff, the gardening and what have you, the things that make it beautiful.
Soon you'll be divine. If you start to cry, look up to the sky. Something's coming up ahead to turn your tears to dew instead.
Thank you for watching In the Life. To sign up for monthly air date alerts or to download past episodes 24/7, please go to our website at inthelifetv.org or call 1-800-627-ON-TV. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Michael Billy. Thanks for tuning in, and please join us next month.
When do you think the last time we saw each other was?
I don't know. I remember. The only thing I remember about us is I remember the first time we had dinner together.
At lunch, actually.
No, it was a dinner, and it was in Miami, Florida.
Oh, gosh, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's when I was doing Tallulah down in Palm Beach or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was thinking of the lunch at Orso's with Liz McCann when we first talked about Virginia Woolf.
Yeah, but that was
But
after
we
that.
didn't talk about Virginia
No, we
Woolf.
didn't.
We talked about politics.
That's right. We're going down West Street, just south of Canal Street. There's a building that's all boarded up, and there's a big lot of whole line of cardboard there. And somebody has printed on that, "You gotta have a swine to show you where the truffles are." Edward Albee.
Isn't that wonderful?
That quote from Virginia Woolf. Isn't that nice?
Well, it takes a swine to find it, yes. Well, that's another thing.
No,
Somebody...
the line is, "You gotta have a swine to show you where the truffles are."
All right, well, I'm sure you're right.
In the Life is funded in part by the H. Van Ameringen Foundation and by Arcus Foundation and by Collingwood Foundation and these funders and by the annual support of In the Life members like you.